In the last episode, we got to see how gruesome Gaara is. Naruto, episode 35. We start this episode off with Naruto and Sasuke doing a little fishing. The thing is Sasuke yet again shows up Naruto by catching more. Then the title card hits. Some of the fish that they caught are being cooked fireside. At the same time, we can hear Sasuke talking. It's already been 4 days since the second exam started. After that, we hear Sakura say, "Yeah, that's right." Sasuke continues on. The start of the second exam was around 3 in the afternoon. We only have 25 or 26 hours left. Sakura understands what Sasuke is trying to say. Naruto, on the other hand, he's more worried about getting this fish done. And for those of you that might be confused, Sasuke says it himself. We're soon going to be in a hot spot. After Sasuke's little update, we get to hear Naruto yet again be worried about the fish, and then simultaneously our scenery changes. This is an unfamiliar team who is in the forest as well, and they're struggling just like them. They're just trying to set up camp for now. One of the members is set to go find food while the other two rest. After the member that gathers food leaves, this is where we have the scroll carrier of the group begin to discuss with their other member about the containments of it. The member being asked these questions wonders why, and all at once the scroll carrier is laughing while looking at the scroll, and we get a response from the person being asked questions. "You've got to be kidding." Again, the carrier begins to laugh while looking at the scroll, except this time he ends it off with him looking at his teammate. We then come back to Team 7, who is surrounded by the campfire. Suddenly, Sakura speaks up. For all we know, there may not be any heaven scrolls. Sasuke then responds to this. "What do you mean, Sakura?" Sakura begins to respond back. "Well, in the second exam, 4 of the 5-day time limit have passed already. So that means you've already used 80% of the total exam time." Look at our boy Naruto, so inspirational. Sakura continues. 78 participants in 26 teams. There are only 13 each of the Heaven and Earth scrolls. At most, there are only 13 passing teams. The last part about the passing teams catches Naruto's attention. Sakura continues. "Moreover, you remember, don't you, Sasuke, that Orochimaru guy burnt our Heaven Scroll that we had." Sasuke comes in for the co-op, which means Sakura continues for him. The teams that will pass had already at that point decreased by 1. Also, all of the other scrolls are not necessarily safe, so Sasuke begins to take over, after parting ways with the Leaf Village bunch. We allotted 2 days for healing, so from here on we have to increase the distance of our actions. At any rate, the next enemy is our last chance. We then see Sasuke get up, and then he says, "I'm going to get some drinking water." After Sasuke leaves, Naruto picks up the scroll. Then he whispers over to Sakura, "Say, say." She looks over at him, and then he continues, "I have a good way for us not to fight with an enemy, believe it." Sakura's like, "What?" Then we see Naruto dump his pouch, which on the ground now there's a bunch of these different scrolls. So these random scrolls are just manuals, and Naruto goes on what he's trying to say. If we tweak this a little and change it into exactly like the Heaven Scroll, right there, Sakura says, "Hold it. Even if you did such a thing, you don't know what's written on the inside." And Sakura follows this up with a really good point. If the proctor looked inside, you'll be discovered right away. Sakura then proceeds to call Naruto an idiot. Now we have this counterpoint coming from Naruto. He believes there's a password written among the two scrolls, and you need this to enter the tower and pass the test. Or something like that. Believe it. What a wise man. And Sakura responds to him. "What difference does it make? If you don't know the content, there's no use making a fake." Naruto shoots back at Sakura. "What if we could predict the content?" "You wouldn't," Sakura says. Naruto says it. "I'm going to. Open this scroll." Sakura then hits him on the head and shouts, "No! Have you forgotten even the rules, you idiot? We were told not to look inside the scrolls until arriving at the tower, right?" A crying Naruto responds, "But at this rate, we'll be in a hot spot, right?" After Naruto says that, it's almost like Sakura comes to an understanding of where they are, Naruto as well, and they both stare at the blank scrolls. Slowly, the scenery changes again, and we're back to the two guys that are at camp. As both of them sit there and stare at each other, we see the one that is carrying the scroll nod. The one holding the scroll is trembling, and we hear the other one talk. "There might be a trap or something. Carefully. Be careful." The one holding the scroll responds, "Yeah, I know." He proceeds to slowly unpeel the scroll. There's then a sudden switch to Sakura and Naruto staring down the scroll. At the same time, we hear their heartbeat. Naruto's hand slowly reaches for the scroll. At the same time, he looks over at Sakura, and she nods. Naruto's sweating. He slowly puts down his hand and he begins peeling back this scroll. We then switch back to the other team opening their scroll. At this point, there's no turning back. The scroll's been unsealed. The scroll carrier's eyes look over at his other teammate, and he nods in approval. Now, in a very fast fashion, he opens the scroll. All at once, we hear both of these shinobi start screaming. The screams echo through the forest. All at once, we get to see food drop. The one that was gathering it, he hears it. He leaves the food behind and rushes to go check on his teammates. Once he gets back to camp, though, he was in for a surprise. Both of his teammates are knocked out cold. The scroll on the ground. His teammates won't respond. There's then a switch back to Naruto and Sakura staring down the scroll. Naruto shaking, peels back the scroll even more. And all at once we hear wham! Out of nowhere, Kabuto has appeared and he has his hand over the scroll. With his head bowed, still holding the scroll, we hear Kabuto say, "You'd best not do it." Both Naruto and Sakura look shocked, and Kabuto eyes over at him. We then get to see Sasuke, who came back from getting water. He looks back at camp. An enemy? Sasuke throws the water to the side and runs over to his teammates. Next thing you know, we hear Sasuke say, "Man, you're beyond saving." That was close. We can see that the four of them are now surrounded together. We hear Sakura apologize. "We're sorry." Kabuto then takes over speaking. Those who ignore the rules are forced into the situation of having to retire. In the previous exam, hypnotism jutsu formula was set up to get into the eyes of those who looked at the scroll along the way, a measure to get them to lie in the forest until the end of the exam. After Kabuto tells them about this, we have Sasuke come to the side. "By the way, if I'm not mistaken, you're Kabuto, right?" Right after Sasuke asks him, "What are you doing hanging around here alone?" Kabuto does a slight turn and responds, "It's not that I'm after your scroll." Sasuke then says, "I didn't think so. If that was your intention, you could have taken it from Naruto just now." Sasuke asks Kabuto, "So you're also after the Heaven Scroll?" Kabuto responds, "No, I already have both." Then Kabuto proceeds to pull them out and show Sasuke. Sasuke's surprised that he has both scrolls. Kabuto just explains he was just in the area waiting for his teammates, and then he tries to make off his leave, until we hear Sasuke shout, "Wait." Kabuto comes to a stop and he slightly looks back with his eyes. Sasuke, staring him down, continues, "Fight me." All at once we start going up to the trees and we see there's a shinobi watching, and we hear him say, "Lucky." As we get to see his face, I believe this is the same one that Sasuke versed earlier on. We go back down where Kabuto responds, "Fight you, you say?" Now Sakura and Naruto are like, "What are you doing, Sasuke? I don't know about that." If you think about it, this whole time, Kabuto's been trying to be a good friend. So after Sakura gets done making her case, this is where Sasuke says, "Shut up." And he says, "We're on borrowed time, dude." Sasuke says this is all that can be done to survive in the forest for now, which Kabuto calls him out. That's a lie. Naruto's like, "A lie?" And then Kabuto continues on, "Your heart isn't totally in this as much as you're saying." We see Sasuke get a little disgruntled. Kabuto continues on, "If you could really become serious about this exam, why is it necessary to fight me?" asks Sasuke. "You should jump on me at my unguarded moment, without going to the trouble of announcing it. That's a ninja." Kabuto takes a pause and he begins speaking again. "I don't dislike that side of you, so I shall tell you the way you should go. However, let's talk as we move." The smell of boiled fish and the fire smoke had reached a great distance. At this rate, we'll be marked by fierce animals and enemies. We then see Kabuto's eyes squint. The shinobi that was watching him notices this and he gets shook up and leaves. Right after we have this aura farming moment for Kabuto, it's like he's got eyes in the back of his head. He says, "Humph." All at once there's this cut to black, and suddenly it's like we're traversing the forest and we hear Sasuke's voice. "Are there really still enemies around?" Kabuto responds, "Yeah, no mistake." Kabuto continues, "If you think about it a little, you'll understand." We can finally see them traversing together in the forest. Kabuto continues, "Do you know the cleverest way of fighting in battles?" In jungles and expansive forests such as this. Funny enough, Sakura's the one to say no. Kabuto gets ready to teach the class the tower located in the center of this forest. The common goal for us test takers. That means when the last day of the test is here, the area near that tower is the easiest place to gather scrolls. Sakura's like, "Oh, I see. Ambush, right?" In other words, we go after the scrolls of the teams that have both the Heaven and Earth scrolls and are setting out for the tower. Kabuto responds, "That's 1/3 of the answer." Sakura questions it with what? Kabuto continues on, "I mean that you guys are not the only ones thinking that. Near the tower, the same badgers have probably already set traps, so..." Naruto then cuts in, "I see, that means there are lots of enemies lying to wait to engage us." Okay, I really don't know what he's saying here. Heh, Having a handicap gets me pumped, I say. As Naruto proceeds to get pumped up, you have Kabuto who chirps in once again. No, this is still two-thirds of the answer. What's the remaining one-third of the answer? Sakura asks. Kabuto again picks up. The collectors who are certain to appear during an exam of this nature. Collectors? Question mark, Sakura asks, confused. Kabuto picks up once again. In this exam, with the tower just a stone's throw away, you definitely can't rest easy. Those particular conditions are what create them. In other words, those who gather extra scrolls, as compensation for sparing them when coming across an unexpected enemy. Also, those who get information to proceed favorable through later exams, by providing the lacking scrolls to comrades sharing the same village. And those who are thinking of under conditions favorable to them, annihilating the powerful ones who will probably get through to the third exam. It goes without saying, but these guys are quite the big guns, and the worst enemies who are definitely not conceited. After hearing that, Sasuke says, I see, I understand the reason why you appeared before us. Still speaking to Kabuto, you're scared too, right? Which Kabuto responds with, that's right. All at once we see the group go deep into the forest, and now there's a time skip, it's night time, we hear Kabuto's voice. Now then, the tower has finally come into view. From here on is the hard part, and Naruto gets hyped up. As Naruto's celebrating, all at once, the team senses something. Sakura turns. An enemy already? At the same time, we see Naruto pull out a kunai knife and throw it. He shouts, there! As he hits something, which ends up just being a giant bug. After they realize it's just a giant centipede, we hear Kabuto say Naruto's name. Kabuto then goes on to tell him, I like to avoid inadvertent sounds and careless action from here on. Rushing ahead through a dense forest, making noise like an elephant, is the same as serving notice in a loud voice that we're coming. We definitely receive an enthusiastic welcome. Naruto responds with, oh, I see. Kabuto continues on. As long as time allows, we should go slowly while remaining hidden. He receives a, yeah, okay. We have another time skip here. Kabuto, including everyone else, has gotten into hiding. We hear Kabuto say, huh, not bad, everyone. Of course, Sasuke and Sakura are doing a pretty good job. Naruto, on the other hand, well, he's gotten tangled up again. There's another little skip here. The group's packed together, and Kabuto has his compass out, where he says, okay, it's this way. They begin to travel on foot, but during a part of the travel, we get to see one of the traps where there is some dead shinobi. After seeing this trap, we hear Kabuto say, yeah, it'll get intense ahead from here on. We then see Kabuto, Sakura, and Sasuke begin to make their way. Naruto is a little transfixed on this trap, so he's slow to getting back. While watching the trap, he begins to start walking, and at the same time, he triggers a tripwire. As Naruto begins to fall, an array of kunai knives start raining at him. As soon as this happens, Kabuto runs into action. He immediately dives in to go and save Naruto, but he ends up taking a bunch of these kunai knives in the back. We hear Naruto yell at Kabuto. We see this dust cloud pump up after he hits the ground, and it's suddenly a substitution instead. We then hear an echo from up top. That was close, Naruto. Naruto looks around and sees Kabuto. From up there, Kabuto repeats his words. I told you it would get intense ahead from here on. After that, they continue back to walking, but Sakura has suddenly gotten tired. She wonders how long they've been walking for, but somehow the tower hasn't gotten any closer. We look at the tower again and we hear Naruto say, here we can see it right in front of our eyes. Naruto ends that off with strange, and Kabuto picks up here. It seems that we're already within the enthusiastic welcome. Kabuto then proceeds to tell him take a look at that while pointing at something. They look to see it's the same dead bug Naruto killed. They're at the same exact spot where they started, even though they've been doing all this walking. Sasuke asks, is it genjutsu? And Kabuto responds, so it seems. They know they're being watched. An enemy did this to wear them down. It's just a matter of time. They'll be coming soon. Soon after, they begin to reveal themselves camouflaged in. The them, though, is actually a bunch of clones of the guy stalking them earlier. They are now surrounded. Technically, the ending of this episode is the team gets surrounded, but here again, we hear Naruto say this really weird line. This is the perfect handicap. Though I do want to say that I felt like there at the end it felt a little more appropriate to say that, just because they are down on members, so that is a perfect way to say it, Naruto, nonetheless. Now, when it comes to this episode, it was pretty cool. No crazy action, but we got some stuff here, it kind of shook us up a little bit here and there, and I liked how it really started. Kabuto came in, and it was kind of like his episode, sort of like an introduction. He's a pretty cool guy, and he's helping Team 7 for whatever reason, just there in the area. And it's still kind of questionable. Why is he going along and doing all this? Even as a friend. I mean, it's supposed to be a competition after all. So it doesn't really make sense. The episode was essentially them just kind of talking the whole time. Talk no jutsu is what they call it usually. So if I had to rate this episode, I'm gonna say it's a 7 in my books. I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on Naruto episode 35. Hope you stay safe, and until next time, peace out, guys.